Hi, my name is Dr. Dylesia and I am a licensed therapist who specializes in teaching women with absent, abusive, neglectful, and spiritually manipulative moms how to live a full life. I am in the middle of my Ask Dr. Dylesia segments for Mother's Day. I recommend that you check out episode 1 of this series of Ask Dr. Dylesia segments where I break down what we're doing for Mother's Day. So today we have 2 follower submissions that we're going to focus on. If you've been following along on Instagram, that would be follower submission number 1, which is about a woman who is feeling insecure in her body because of her mom's comments. And follower submission number 2, which is a woman who is limiting contact with her mom due to not wanting to be insulted anymore. Let's roll the footage for follower submission number 1.
I'm the firstborn of 3 children and I have 2 younger brothers. Sometimes when I talk with my mom, it feels like she never has anything nice to say to me or about me. Since I was a child, she's made negative comments about my smile, how I smell, my weight, and how I dress. When I was about 20 pounds heavier and had a larger chest, she thought I was too big. But as soon as I started losing weight, she said I was too skinny. When I'm around her or her friends, I get a deep feeling of dread to the point that I don't feel comfortable getting up and walking around them. I'd rather just sit still and stay put. Is this a result of my relationship with my mother? She always has nice things to say about my brothers and she'll stick up for them when they make mistakes. I'm her only daughter though, and I get nothing but insults from her. It saddens me that we don't have a loving mother-daughter relationship.
Hey gorgeous, I can just feel your beauty from the submission. I can discern that there's so much kindness and vulnerability and sweetness and attraction just all wrapped up in who you are. I'm so sorry that your mom is unable/unwilling, and we'll get into that, to see you for who you truly are. What I will say is that a lot of moms are extremely critical of their daughters. I hear that more often than not in the work that I do. And the reason is not necessarily because of the daughter. So it's not the hairs that are misplaced, the acne that is on the skin, the clothes that are, not fitting the way that the mom thinks that they should. It actually is mom and her fear about how the way that you look is going to be perceived by others, and then in turn how people are going to see her as a result of that. So when we hear about moms, trying to shape shift their daughters and change them and who they want them to be, it's all because mom is trying to control her own reputation. Moms like that simply don't see their daughters for who they are or who the daughters are trying to become. They see them as a reflection of themselves. They see them as almost a walking billboard or advertisement for how good of a parent they are. So when your mom is commenting on your weight, when she's commenting on, the clothes that you're wearing, when she's commenting on how you look, she's doing those things because she is socially insecure. And obviously that's bleeding over and it's causing you some social insecurity, but I want you to know that it's not personal. I want you to know that it's rooted in her own social awkwardness that she may have never even talked to you about. It's rooted in her own fears about what others are thinking, even if she tries to put on this facade that she doesn't care what other people think of her. It's all rooted in an insecurity that she has within herself that she's projecting onto you. Now, when we talk about her friends and how you feel about them, that makes perfect sense that you are feeling uneasy and that you just simply stay in the space that you're in. You don't move around. You probably grab everything that you need before they even come over, so you can just have everything within an arm's reach and won't have to actually get up. And I'll say that the reason for that, you're not crazy. The reason is because people's friends are generally a reflection of themselves, right? The friends are thought to have the same sort of opinions, the same sort of mindsets, the same sort of commentary is probably going to be received from friend to friend. So you are honestly just protecting yourself. You're protecting yourself from being in the lion's den and being a prey to them. And I want you to know that that is normal. When we're in spaces where we don't feel protected, our survival instincts automatically kick in. And that would be fight, flight, or freeze. And it sounds like in this situation, you're freezing. I'm not sure if you are living at home. I'm not sure if you are, coming to these parties that your mom is throwing with her friends. But my suggestion would be to try and reduce how often you're around your mom and her friends, or even to completely eliminate it if your mom is unwilling to hear how you feel and unwilling to adjust her behavior on your behalf. If you are living at home, this may mean being strategically unavailable when her friends are over, having something to do if they're popping up and you're just like, oh, I gotta go grab something and run an errand. If you're not living at home, it sounds way simpler than it is, I know. don't go over. That means that you're gonna have to develop the language in order to set boundaries and to articulate I can't and no to your mom. And if you need help with doing that, role playing with a therapist or a friend is my recommendation.
I stopped visiting my mom a few years ago because I don't feel like being belittled anymore. It seems like she goes out of her way to make me feel like I'm not good enough and to embarrass me, especially when we're around others. She compares me to my friends or the daughters of her friends, telling me how much prettier and more accomplished they are. And she's always bringing up how terrible I look or how bad I am at something when I didn't even ask for her opinion. The last time I went to visit her, instead of saying hello, she said, "Wow, your acne is horrible. You look awful." After that, I stopped going over, but started to notice that I was always the first one to say I love you before ending a call with her. I stopped doing it, and now it's never said. I'm between trying not to blame myself, blaming myself, having empathy for her, trying to help her, avoiding her, feeling bad, and feeling responsible. I don't know how to deal with this.
Hey boo, it sounds like there is this gradual eating away of you and your mom's relationship that happens a lot when we start to become suspicious about someone and their motives, and really start to tap into what they're doing to us by what they're saying to us. So I do not want to be one of those people who provides a blanket suggestion for how you should operate in this scenario. I don't know if you've talked to your mom ever. I don't know if you're on the brink of, no contact or estrangement is something that you've been considering. So I want to make sure that I am specific to each of those possible scenarios. So number one, if you have not had a conversation with your mom, I know you're probably terrified, and that would be the reason why it hasn't happened. But that would be my first suggestion. First suggestion would be, hey mom, this is how I'm feeling. When you go into that conversation, I want to make sure that you use I statements. So that's why I said this is how I'm feeling instead of this is how you are making me feel. I want to make sure that you craft sort of the perfect words on your end, because we don't know how she's going to respond. Her responses are not something that we can predict, but we can prepare for them. So what I would recommend is that you come up with several I statements, let's say 3 to 5, that capture how you feel. Let's structure those statements as I felt this when this was said. Framing your sentences in this way is not to avoid holding your mom accountable for what she did, but it's to avoid putting her on the defense. When we go into conversations and we are automatically guns blazing, telling the person everything they did wrong, they're going to protect themselves, and they're going to protect themselves by defending themselves. And that's the last thing you want. If there is a possibility for her to have a heartfelt conversation with you, to, right her wrongs, to realize the error in her ways, then it's going to come from you being strategic about how you frame the conversation. Now, if you have talked to her before and she is just still insulting you and it's not working, my suggestion would be to continue to set boundaries like you have done. When it comes to setting boundaries with your mom, you do them until you find something that works, so they become progressively more restrictive. What that means is that maybe I don't come over when you're around friends because you tend to show out. But if you're still insulting me after I place that boundary, maybe I just stop coming over altogether. And then if I realize that we're talking on the phone and you are still finding a way to insult me, then maybe that means that I reduce our phone calls from 3 times a week to 1. Then if I'm still finding out that you are insulting me, maybe I'm only going to text you, and so on and so forth. So I want you to follow the least restrictive application of boundaries strategy that I just suggested. And the reason for doing that, again, is not to get your mom off the hook, but it's to make sure if you do something like estrange, that you believe within yourself that you tried everything you could to salvage the relationship. And when people jump from, mom is doing this and it's annoying me, to I'm just gonna cut her off, there's a gap where guilt has the opportunity to fill the space up. And you already, as you said, are feeling mixed emotions about this. When it comes to the mixed emotions that you're feeling, I suggest that you take time processing the layers of those emotions. So what I mean by that is either sitting with your therapist and or with a journal. And today I'm gonna focus on feeling like I'm to blame. Next day, I'm gonna focus on feeling like I should cut her off. Next day, I'm gonna focus on another emotion. So I want you to spend time seeing those individual parts of yourself as fully as they need to be seen. They each make up a layer of your identity as a daughter, and they not just deserve to be heard, but each of them has needs, each of them has wants, each of them has a voice that we need to consider when we're deciding what the ultimate strategy is going to be for how you interact with your mom.